Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing something different. One of my favorite YouTubers, Emily Norris, has created this new mummy tag with 15 questions to answer, and so that's what I'm going to do today, is a question and answer. Okay, question number one is, what is your favorite mummy hack? My favorite hack, especially now that I'm working part-time, is to meal plan. This helps us to eat healthier as a family because I feel like if I didn't do this, I'd get to the end of the day, I'd have no energy and we would just eat junk food and takeout. So meal planning is definitely my number one mummy tip, especially if you are going back to work and juggling that. And especially for this, I make sure that on the days that I am working, it's simple, healthy meals, nothing too elaborate, and I save that for when I'm home and I can do the preparation throughout the day. Number two is, what is your most embarrassing mummy moment? There are so many to pick from, but I think the most embarrassing one was when I was a first time mummy with a mirror, and I was at my sister-in-law's wedding. We were in between the ceremony and the reception and I needed to express. So we thought we had found a nice quiet little car park and I was just going to pump in the car before walking into the reception. But it was a cruel twist of fate and we ended up parking right in front of the stairs. Every now and again random people would walk up and I'd quickly have to duck, and yes, it definitely wasn't my finest moment, and we after a while just put the sun visor up to make sure that no one could see in. So most embarrassing mummy moment by far. Question number three is, what is your favorite time of day? So my favorite time of day would definitely be bath time, because I feel like it's a time where there's no pressure to do anything except for enjoy having a bath. The girls are all smiles and giggles. It's really nice at the end of a day to just have some playtime with them and bond over something as simple as a bath or a shower. Question number four is, what part of the day do I not like? And at the moment it would definitely be dinner time. Since Zoe was born, Amira has decided that she doesn't want to feed herself anymore because she sees us feeding Zoe, and so it's just crazy. It's kind of like having two babies, but worse, because Amira has the potential to eat, and depending on whether or not they've had a good day or bad day means that dinner time can either be super smooth or it could be absolutely chaotic and screaming and crying from both of them. And they've now decided that they can mock each other, so if one of them is crying, the other one will match it, and yeah. Dinner time is absolutely not my favorite time of the day at the moment. Okay, question number five is, what is the worst thing that someone said to you while you were pregnant? I feel like there were so many, but the thing that I hated hearing the most was when I was in my third trimester and people kept telling me to store up my sleep because I wasn't going to get it when the baby arrived, and I used to get so angry at this. You're just so big and stretched, and I feel like when I'm in my third trimester, especially in that last month, I don't get sleep because my bladder is getting pressed all the time. The baby's arms and limbs are getting stuck in my ribs and pushing and squiggling, and then you get your Braxton Hicks, and I just feel like, yes, especially that last month, I can't store up my sleep. If I could, I would, but it's just not a reality. So yeah, definitely one thing that I hated hearing while I was pregnant was store up your sleep. Question number six is, what is a baby name that you and your partner didn't agree on? It was really interesting when we were pregnant with both of the girls, we never found out the gender, and with Amira, we were kind of thinking that she definitely was a boy, and so we had a boy's name in mind, and then two friends of ours both had a boy and they both called them Theodore, and we really loved the name. And now that we know that there's two Theodores, Michael has definitely said no to Theodore as a name, so that's a name that I think is definitely crossed off our list. Question number seven is, do you co-sleep? We definitely don't intentionally co-sleep, but I feel like those first 6 months breastfeeding, we kind of do what we do to survive. So there are moments where Zoe may fall asleep, or Amira had fallen asleep in the bed with me while I was doing feeding throughout the night, but it was never intentional co-sleeping. And then definitely around that 6 to 8 months, we moved them out of the room into their own cot in their own space. We just do what we do to survive. Question 8 is, what is something that you bought that you never used? The thing that we probably never used was this boomerang pillow that was used for tummy time. I never really got the concept, didn't know how to implement it, and we just did tummy time either on the floor or on us while we were reclining on a couch So I've never really used that boomerang pillow for tummy time for a newborn. Question number 9 is, what are 3 must-have in your hospital bags? Now, for this question, I'm going to go a bit differently to what most people are going to do, because I'm sure there are some essentials that you should definitely have, but 3 things that you'll find in my bag that are slightly different to everybody else's. The first thing are the all-in-one suits for newborns. They have the mittens and the socks, and so that way it's all included. I love them, and I definitely think they're a must-have, and have a lot of them, because I find that, yeah, that pooing and weeing and vomiting stage, you just, yeah, going through a lot of clothes. So pack more than what you think. The second thing that is a must-have for me is definitely snacks. I feel like in those first couple of days, you're feeding so often, and I have really hated getting up to feed every 2 to 3 hours throughout the night. But it was really good to have those snacks on hand where I was getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you know, I could have a little treaty while I was doing it. So definitely pack snacks that you enjoy to eat when you're feeding. And the third thing that I would pack that's different from everybody else but is an essential for me is I just bring a pillow from home. I feel like obviously hospitals are very clinical and clean, but it's nice to just have a piece of home while you are lying in bed recovering from giving birth and doing all your feeding. And I just feel like, yeah, having a pillow from home is just a nice touch while you're adjusting to having a newborn. Question 10 is, are you a go with the flow mum or a routine mum? Before I had kids, I thought I would definitely be go with the flow, but establish a routine sometime. With Amira, we started that, and it was just so bad for us. I feel like it made my postnatal depression heightened by like 100%, and so we researched into routines and we established one with Amira, and ever since doing a routine with Amira, she is a much happier baby. We are happier parents, and so yeah, we're definitely a routine family. And now that we've got 2 kids, a 2.5-year-old and an 8-month-old, we're definitely a routine family because it's hard to juggle it. There are days where we won't necessarily enforce following the routine to a T, but we are within the vicinity of a routine over the weekends, but definitely a routine during the week. Question 11 is, what type of labor did you have, and did you use any pain relief? So both of my labors were induced due to my personal choice. Amira's labor was 15 hours. I was already dilated before I was induced. My body was ready to go. It just needed that kickstart, and so they popped my waters. I tried to do it as natural as possible, but yeah, definitely after 12 hours I asked for an epidural because Amira's spine was on my spine, which was causing a lot of pain, and we needed to turn her. So epidural was definitely the way I went with Amira, and the epidural I had with her, I couldn't actually move my legs, didn't really feel anything, and it was just, yeah, quick, simple labor. With Zoe, once again, we were induced, but this time I was about 6 centimeters dilated, so it wasn't that much of an induction, and my labor was only 7 hours with her. This time around, my birth plan was to have an epidural straight away. So pretty much once I got into the birth suite, I had some gas, which was great, and then I had the epidural, and this time with my epidural, it didn't block off any of my feelings, and so I was able to move my legs. I could feel the pressures of each contractions. I knew when to push. And yeah, it was definitely a better experience with an epidural. Both epidurals weren't bad for me. I had really good experiences with them. It helped me to enjoy the childbirth experience. I personally liked the epidural. Question 12 is, have you ever been mum shamed? Yes, all the time for going back to work. I get frequently told how kids grow up so fast, it's so good to stay at home, and how do you do it? I don't know how you do it, blah, 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 blah. The fact of the matter is, for our little family, we cannot survive off one income, and so yes, I do have to go back to work. I am so blessed, and I will say this until the cows come home, that I have part-time this year. And yeah, there's just, I feel a lot of mum shaming for my personal experience about going back to work, but it's just what we have to do to look after our families. For those of you who have gone back to work, definitely don't feel ashamed about it. You're doing what's best for your family, and that's all that matters. Question 13 is, what is the biggest challenge you have faced since becoming a mum? I feel like the biggest challenge is not being in control. When life is just you, or life is you and your partner, I feel like you can, like, there's leeway with things, but as soon as you add a tiny human into that mix, things happen that are out of your control, and you just have to deal with it, come up with action plans and all those sorts of things. And so you're really restricted by what you can do at the same time because they're so little. And so I think that's probably been the biggest challenge. Kind of funny because I feel like when you're in your teenage years, you're fighting for freedom, you finally get it, and then you have kids and you're back to square one. So, but it's only for a season, and the girls are going to get to an age where obviously we're not going to be so restricted, and we're going to be able to go out on adventures, not be ruled by sleep routines or anything like that, and it's going to be great. Question 14 is, what is the best advice you were given as a mum, and what's one piece of advice you'd like to pass on? The best advice I was given was from my midwife when I first had Amira. Amira used to cry a lot from being overtired, which is the whole reason why we ended up finding a routine for her. And the piece of advice that this midwife told me was that it is absolutely okay to put a crying baby into a clean, empty cot and allow them to cry so that you can go make a cup of tea, cup of coffee, watch a little bit of TV, go have a shower, anything you can do to kind of just do something for yourself. It is fine for them to cry because crying means that they're breathing. You can have some time to yourself and then help your baby. I feel like that was the best piece of advice. I felt like when Amira was crying, it was my responsibility to help her not to cry, but there were some days where I just couldn't do that because I was at breaking point. So yes, it is absolutely okay to have a baby in their cot crying. And my piece of advice to pass on is it's absolutely okay to do whatever you need to do to survive the newborn phase. I feel like this first year is so tricky, and so many people have all their opinions, whether that means co-sleeping, bottle feeding, breastfeeding, you know, whatever you do, it doesn't matter. As long as your child is loved and they are safe, then who cares what happens to get them there? So just do what you do and don't worry about what other people are doing. We just have to love our kids the way that we do. And question 15 is, who is your mummy crush? I feel like the last 8 months that I was on maternity leave, I started following 3 mummy vloggers. It's Emily Norris, Kiara Moore, the Aussie mummy vlogger, and Carissa Nunez. So if you haven't checked them out, definitely check them out. I enjoy them. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit subscribe and tap that bell so you get notified when I upload next. And I'll see you in the next video.